Hello, everybody. I'm Tim McNiff, and the National Sports Center's Super Rink is thrilled to announce the 2022 All-American Girls Tournament celebrating 30 years of girls hockey. As such, each month, as you know, we're going to be introducing you to one of Minnesota's greatest female hockey players. So keep watching our Facebook page to meet these ice icons. And we are going to continue our series today by meeting former Golden Gopher and Olympic silver medalist Grace Zumwinkle. Grace, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Prior to the pandemic, the All-American Girls Hockey Tournament in Blaine featured more than 60 teams and more than 1,000 girls for one weekend of ice hockey, all girls. What goes through your mind when you hear something like that, knowing that there's something out there in the game of hockey just for girls?
That's honestly amazing. I think back to when I started playing hockey and there was maybe one youth team per association. So it's just crazy to see the growth of the sport, especially in women's hockey. But to hear 60 teams prior to the pandemic is honestly amazing for the sport.
Now, for most of the women that I've interviewed in this series, playing hockey was never a question. It was just simply handed down from one generation to the next. But I saw something you did before the Olympics that led me to believe that that wasn't the case where you were concerned. How did you get started playing hockey?
Yeah, that was definitely not the case for my family. My dad played football in college and my mom played tennis, so hockey was not really in the bloodlines. But essentially how I got into the sport was I went to kindergarten one day and my class crush at the time brought a flyer that he was going to start playing hockey. So I immediately wanted to be just like him and do everything that he did. So I brought the flyer home to my parents and was like, I'm going to start playing hockey, or I want to. Can you sign me up? And essentially at that young age, my parents were like, we'll support whatever avenue or path you want to pursue. But so they went and signed me up and got the starter kit. And the night before the first practice, I sat crying in my bed telling my parents I didn't want to go. But needless to say, they brought me to the first day and I was just getting skated circles around. But I came off the ice with this huge smile and told my parents that I was the best one out there winning hockey. That was just far from the truth. And ever since then, it's brought me to where I am today.
I'm sorry, that's one of the best introduction to sports stories I've ever heard. So I love that. So thank you for sharing. I'd say it's worked out pretty well for you. I'm not sure how it worked for your crush at the time, but for you, it did okay. I'm just wondering, what are some of the life lessons you've picked up along the way playing the game of hockey that have helped you in your success that you can share with this next generation of women hockey players?
Yeah, I think the sport has definitely brought so many intangibles that can't be taught in the classroom or a book. But I think just the concepts of resilience and teamwork and collaboration, I think at the end of the day, how you treat people is almost more important than the impact or the statistics that you have on the ice. And I think that's just the biggest takeaway, is like the way you treat people is almost goes farther down the road.
I hope this isn't being repetitive, but I'm just wondering, what do you hope that these girls would get from the experience of not only playing in this tournament, the All-American Girls Tournament, but if they stick with it and play the game of hockey and the way you have and the things it's allowed you to do, giving you a college education and allowed you to travel the world?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, there's so many things that I've benefited from playing hockey, but I think at the end of the day, if you have fun and enjoy what you're doing, it's going to make it so much more enjoyable down the road. But I think also, like I just mentioned, the aspects and life lessons of hard work. And I'm a firm believer in what you put in is what you're going to get out. And so I think that's just been kind of my life motto ever since I was younger. And like, that's one thing that can't be taken away from you is the hard work aspect of it.
All great stuff. Grace Zumwinkle, pleasure to meet you. Thank you for helping us out with this. You are one of the best that Minnesota's ever produced. We thank you so much for your time and your input, and we wish you continued success, not only in the game of hockey, but of course in life.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, that is Grace Zumwinkle, everybody. Thank you for watching. We can't wait to see you out on the ice at the 30th Annual Girls Hockey Tournament, the All-American Girls Tournament that's happening November 11th through the 13th, 2022, and it's only happening at one place, right? That is, of course, the Super Rink out at the National Sports Center. Thanks for joining us, everybody.